Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sierra Smith. I'm a seven-figure Etsy optimization specialist, consultant, and business analyst with had the privilege of scaling 200 plus Etsy shops with some to seven figures over the last 6 years. Top clientele is currently making 2.7 million on the platform. And in this video, I'm going to be touching on how to grow a gift basket business and or how to sell gift boxes slash baskets on Etsy. These go hand in hand. They're both part of the same strategy. Selling on Etsy would definitely be part of growing a gift basket business, and it is a surefire and expedited way to do so. And I know this for a fact because we scaled a shop to $2,000 in 8 days last year by launching Boo Boxes, which is a form of basically like a Halloween kind of themed gift box, and so more so targeting what we call hygge. So it's just a cozy search on Etsy last year. I'm going to touch more on that hygge I mentioned in just a bit because it is definitely like a market gap. It's an opportunity to elongate your keywords and target more specific purchasing intents and search queries on Etsy. So very excited to be sharing this video because gift baskets are insanely profitable on Etsy. You can essentially put up the listings and you don't have to market, you don't have to do content creation, any kind of external, like consistent advertising. You don't have to do that, but I would recommend Etsy ads being part of your strategy just to expedite visibility and sales on Etsy. But honestly, it's not a necessity, but I do highly recommend it if you're trying to get sales really, really quickly. But that's just Etsy ads, which is essentially you just creating the listings on Etsy, and then Etsy ads will turn your listings into advertisements, which will essentially place your listings really, really high in search. But you do have to get your SEO right on your listings so you are making sure you're being shown for really, really high intent keywords that are really specific, that align with that align with how customers search when they are ready to buy. So really, really important. You need to know the search terms that people are searching on Etsy. So that's really what I'm going to be touching on in this video is I'm going to be touching on the market gaps slash trends slash opportunities on Etsy that are underserved spaces where there's lots of search volume but relatively low competition, and these are like 100% validated market gaps that you can target by bringing your gift baskets to Etsy. The name of the game is then going to be essentially either creating products slash slash gift baskets or refining the existing gift baskets that you already have, and then fine tuning the presentation of your listing images and tweaking, redoing your SEO or just creating SEO in the first place that actually aligns with these search queries. So everything is essentially going to align with the expectations for the customers that are searching these keywords on Etsy. So I'm going to touch on how to do it, but first I do want to touch on some of the actual opportunities for you to know that are very tangible. So care package is just one way to search on Etsy that essentially would encompass a lot of different longer tail, which is just a 3 to 4 word keyword. Many of them include care package. So whatever keyword research you do, I do recommend searching care package and then seeing all the different ways to elongate that query alone. There are lots of market gaps around care package. I touched on it. Some that I've definitely seen have been in grief. Definitely, do approach these with a lots of empathy and doing the research to create products that really do, meet the needs of these customers where they're at. But definitely grief, surgery, recovery in general, cancer and chemo, hospital, postpartum slash a new mom, pregnancy. All of those care package opportunities are very, very lucrative. I'm gonna go over here right quick. I'm going to touch on this in just a minute, this tool, but I did want to bring these up right quick so you can see these additional market gaps as well, where we see green searches and then we see green Etsy competition. That really tells us that this is a super lucrative market gap, lots of search volume, low competition. Again, we see pregnancy care package, we see grief care package, we see cancer care package, we see sympathy care package, we see breakup care package, self-care package, college care package, and then PTA care package, postpartum care package. The slower, like the farther down you get, we're seeing searches are declining, but we are still seeing a decent amount of, this is telling us like monthly searches. And then we see the Etsy competition numbers. Of course, we also want to look at like the search trend data here as well. Definitely, I would be prioritizing those that are showing higher search trends in the recent months. But whatever keyword data you do pull, you do want to validate within Etsy.com itself. So we can kind of take these search trends with a grain of salt until we actually go into Etsy.com ourselves. So I did just want to touch on those opportunities to kind of start off with. Moving forward, additional keyword research since it should center around gift box. Of course, these are pretty obvious, but gift box, gift basket, gift set. Getting a little bit more unique, we have burr basket, which is essentially It's like brr when you're cold. So it's just kind of like essentially a play on that. It's right around the holiday season. Burr baskets is a really popular search query on Etsy. Definitely start, optimizing for that. I would say by mid-August to really start capitalizing on all of the more so holiday specific search queries. And then we have Boo Box and Boo Basket, which are both more Halloween centered gift box queries. Definitely hop on that just basically as soon as possible. Basically, once summer hits, you want to start getting those listings up. To be honest with you. And then Hug in a Box is a really, really big one. Self care box, mental health box, hygge, I mentioned before, but it's essentially like a Danish term for cozy. It's really, really big on Etsy and has been for quite some time. So it's hygge. Do some research around that as well. But definitely just having that keyword within your listing titles, tags, and descriptions can go a really, really long way on Etsy. So hygge gift and then dot, 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 whether that's basket, box, set, whatever. Pretty much including hygge in there is going to be definitely kind of like your money, your money generator. And then we see fall hygge, Christmas hygge, and then newer to this year, surprise box and recovery gift box, new homeowner gift box, and newborn baby gift box. All these are opportunities on Etsy, underserved spaces in the market. Mystery box is another creative search. It can help you out a lot if you're not quite sure what products you want to put in your boxes, but you do want to put a listing on the platform. And then proposal gift box. So this is just all kinds of proposals, but Godmother proposal gift box is definitely underserved and has been underserved on Etsy for quite some time now. So proposal gift boxes of all kinds, especially like bridesmaids and maid of honor, matron of honor, kind of like those kinds of gift boxes do really, really well on Etsy and can definitely be underserved, kind of depending on the angle you do take with the products that you create. So now you know the keywords, market opportunities. Now you need to know what to do with that data. So I said earlier to use Etsy.com itself. That is definitely going to be the greatest way to actually validate these keywords. So you can start there and just type in any of these keywords, and you can see how Etsy elongates these keywords within Etsy search suggestions. So the way to do that, I typically will use an incognito window on Chrome, or you can use any search browser. And I'll just go into Etsy.com. This is going to remove any past search behavior, any past engagement behavior. All that does factor into Etsy search results. So we want to use like an incognito mode so that none of that factors into our search results. You can also use Etsy app, and you can go into a guest mode. And that can be really, really effective at seeing how mobile browsers see the results, which I wanted to touch on in just a bit, but I'm going to go ahead and touch on it here as well. A lot of shoppers on Etsy do use mobile. So whether you do that now or you do that later, it's really, really important that you do have an understanding of what the search page on mobile looks like so you can optimize your listings to look really, really enticing on mobile. It's really, really similar to how it does look on desktop, but sometimes they show a little bit more information. Like they'll show like ship time, they might show free shipping label, especially the cover photo dimensions is a little bit different on mobile. It's a rectangle on mobile, the longer rectangle, whereas on desktop it tends to more so be square, but it does depend on kind of what browser you're using, how you got to the search page and things like that. But it does tend to be more so square. So I'm going to go into an incognito window, and I'm gonna go ahead into Etsy.com, and I'm gonna keep on the slant of care package. Care package is very underserved, like I said. It's basically you can target all your gift boxes and gift baskets after care package, but it's just a slightly less served keyword by like competitors. And of course, it does tend to convey like the incorporation of more so like self-care items, blankets, cozy items, kind of in that slant, but you can definitely have many, many kinds of items in a care package. So like we can see here, I typed it in on Etsy, and this is where we're seeing how Etsy is elongating the keyword. Care package for pregnant friend, care packages for new moms, care package for expecting mom, care package for her. So already we're seeing validation of that concept that like pregnancy care package and postpartum care package are really, really in demand on Etsy just because of how Etsy's elongating this search query. I will say Etsy mobile does tend to show a few more search suggestions, which can be pretty helpful here. And then I also have an EverBee Chrome extension installed. I'm going to touch on that. I can go ahead and I'm about to touch on that here, but EverBee is essentially an Etsy keyword research tool. Those are the numbers that I'm seeing here. So we're seeing 36 monthly searches, 867 monthly searches. These are all basically estimates based on the data that they pull from like Etsy's API, but it can be really, really helpful for just getting a feel for maybe which keywords to prioritize. And again, seeing if a lot of people like search that keyword. So that can be really, really helpful to have that Chrome extension installed. I'll have the link below. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do always use EverBee with my keyword research because it provides so much high value data. So what we're seeing here, we see care package. Let's just click into this one where it says care packages for new moms. We have seen it set a lot of monthly searches, and it's a really, really specific keyword. When people search like that, they are typically about ready to buy. This is very, very specific. So what I would want to do at this point is just kind of validate. I think we kind of have the validation there, to be honest with you all, since we did pull this from Etsy search suggestions itself. That tends to be really indicative of this being a space that is very much so searched for. So it's a little bit less guesswork. If Etsy's recommending it, people are typically searching for it. But at this point, if you did maybe pull this keyword from a third party tool or from somewhere else, then this would be the time where you really want to validate by just looking at the search page and seeing if there are a lot of popular nows and lots of bestsellers. So we're just looking at those labels on the listings. We're looking to see, are there lots of popular now labels or lots of bestseller labels? And then going even beyond that, I did have the EverBee Chrome extension installed, so I do see the monthly sales volume as well. Again, these are estimates, but it can be quite helpful. Like we see most of these have pretty high monthly sales. We can look at the ones that have the highest monthly sales. We see 137 right here. We can see what looks to be kind of like a newer listing where we're seeing like 0 monthly sales. And it can just be really, really helpful again for gouging the demand or gauging the demand for that market. And then you can also click into the listing. So, like going up here, clicking into like this first organic listing that's showing up, skipping over that row of ads, we can see the label that Etsy places on the listing, and we see how many people bought it in the last 24 hours, which can also be really reflective of demand. We see 5 people bought this in the last 24 hours. Scrolling down to the bottom, we can also see when it last sold. We already saw the label, so we know it last sold in the last 24 hours. But if there was no label on that listing saying how many had sold in the last 24 hours, scrolling down to the bottom will show you the date that it last sold. So we see listed on today's date, so we know it last sold today. That can also be just really helpful for understanding, okay, should I really be entering this market? If it's the first organic ranking listing and it last sold maybe like last week, might not be a market that's worth entering because it doesn't have that much demand. Now, I mentioned it already, but EverBee is one of my favorite Etsy keyword research tools, but I also do use erank.com. Both of these tools together are really, really high value for finding those very tangible, lucrative market gaps on Etsy, which are essentially just those underserved spaces in the market. So again, in EverBee, I searched care package. I just went into the keyword research tab over here. And then you get to go into here and then you get to type in your keyword of choice. So I'm going to type in care package so you all can see that. And at that point, EverBee is going to show us that data that's surrounding it. We see lots of typos in here, which is expected with EverBee. So what I always do is I'll click on this filter right here, and then I will go into keywords, include, and then I'll typically type in the exact keyword that I just typed in. It can vary sometimes just depending on what you did type in and whether you want like the exact ordering of those words. Sometimes you just have to do a little bit more digging and it will take a little bit more time, but typically I will just filter by the exact keyword I typed in. That'll immediately filter out quite a few typos surrounding that term. And then to also cut through more of the like noise, I'll also set a minimum search volume and a minimum competition. That can vary depending on the like basically just how competitive your market is. But in this space, I'm going to put a minimum search volume of, I'm going to say 50. Already we're seeing down here some really, really long keywords that are showing up. So I really want to cut through a lot of that. And then competition, I want to set that. I'm just going to do a minimum of 50. I may end up having to raise that, but we will see. And then we see keyword score is naturally ordered by descending. Keyword score is an indicator of relative market saturation, basically. So a higher keyword score tells us that this is a greater market gap. So it's just a greater opportunity. It has higher search volume compared to relatively low competition. So thankful care package. So already starting here, we're seeing some absolute like market gaps. We're seeing some keywords that could definitely be worth searching. I would definitely be taking note of like thankful care package. Always think about the seasonality and where you're at in the year and if it would make sense to be targeting some of these. Skip over typos. We see Christmas care package. Don't factor those in because Etsy will automatically autocorrect those queries anyway if somebody were to search Christmas care package. So only look at those that are not typos. And at this point, you can go through quite a few of these. Get well care package for friends definitely aligns with like the other market gaps that I have seen. So surgery recovery, hospital care package, definitely just get well soon care package. Highly recommend exploring that avenue. We see expectant mom care package. We see more friends care package queries. I typically advise getting a little bit more specific than that, but you can definitely include that within your characters. I'm sorry, within your titles, 140 characters, or within one of your 13 tags, just to make sure like care package friends or friends care package is part of it. I have videos up on SEO, but SEO on Etsy will essentially map all these different keywords together that you're optimizing for. You just want to as possible. So you want to make sure your listings are targeting as many of these relevant queries as possible. So we see graduate school care package, relax gift care package. Relaxation is always pretty big. After birth care package. So that's how EverBee will typically help me out with the keyword research. And I'm also going to go over into erank.com like I did earlier. I really, really like erank. I love how visual it is. I love that it shows us, searches and it shows us competition, and then we get to see it color coded. So again, like I said, if it's green in searches, green under competition, that is also an indicator of a pretty strong market gap, high search volume, low competition. Also not sponsored by eRank, but I will have the links down below for you to check out if you do want to use them. They're extremely affordable compared to like Google SEO tools. These are basically nothing, but they're really, really effective for Etsy and they do the trick. These were the foundation of how we set up the shop last year to make that 2K in 8 days. We didn't have any internal keyword data to work with. This was a new gift box business, but we just used these third party tools for that data. And then, of course, working with Etsy as well, running searches in Etsy to, again, get a feel for actual demand and to really validate that these keywords are the opportunities that they are showing up as. That tends to be a really, really strong foundation for a very just profitable shop. So we see eRank gives us even more keyword data. All of these keywords, I would take note of all of them, and I would just plan to just run quite a few different searches on Etsy for these different keywords. Typically, I'll store them all within a spreadsheet so that I have everything within one space. eRank does have this export tab, like this export button right here. So you're able to export the data right there, and eRank lets you export data as well. So both of those I tend to just compile everything within a spreadsheet. So it's really, really easy for me to just reference back to later. And I have all that keyword data ready for me once I am ready to actually create listings, or if there are any listings to optimize, I like to have all of that within kind of just a pool for me to use. We did care package already. So like gift box, gift set, gift basket, hug in a box, all those different queries that we touched on earlier. That's when you'd want to go in as well and start running some additional searches to pull additional keyword data. SEO on Etsy, you do tend to want it to be a little bit more diversified. So you want to go after keywords that are a little bit more different than they are similar. So something like postpartum care package, and then pregnancy gift box would make more sense to target for versus postpartum care package and postpartum gift box, because both of them target postpartum twice. You want it to be slightly more diversified, and this is pulled slightly from Etsy's seller handbook. But name of the game, you always want to use up as much keyword space as you can. So just keeping note of all these long tail keywords and the shorter tail keywords that they target within. So something like postpartum care package would also be targeting care package because care package is part of that keyword as a whole. So just kind of thinking of all the keywords that you're targeting when you are writing out your titles, your tags, your descriptions. And I just would say at that point to try to not overthink it too much, because at the end of the day, a killer product is going to get you a lot farther than perfect SEO ever did. So rather than stressing too much about the SEO, I'm not going to say stress, but definitely, kind of obsess over the products that you do create. So if you want some additional kind of inspiration to create products, we already touched on it using Etsy's search page and looking over the best sellers and the popular nows, which should ideally kind of guide the aesthetic of the products that you do create. But I'll also go into EverBee's product analytics tab. So back over here in EverBee, you can go into product analytics, and I would just, if you want to search one of the more specific keywords, you can, or you could just keep it to care package. And then at that point, I would run a search here in product analytics, and I'm going to click on filter right here. And then I'm going to click on, I'm going to have to scroll over so that I can filter it by a maximum listing age of, I typically will do like 3 to 1. I might do 3 months. So we see listing age and then max, you can type in 3. And then at that point, we're going to start seeing really new listings on Etsy. And then Etsy will automatically organize it by revenue, monthly revenue descending. So clicking into the top listing that's showing up here, You'll see I click into the top listing that's showing up here. So graduation gift box for her. We can see monthly sales. Again, these are estimates, but they're decently accurate. We can click into any of the listings and we can get a feel again for actual search volume, and we can look at how many reviews, and we can look at, when it last sold, the labels that are showing up. But here we do see that this top listing that's showing up has had a monthly revenue estimated of $16,722. And then we see the listing age is 3 months, and we can get a lot more data here as well, just scrolling down. And you can get even more keyword ideas from these competitors too by scrolling down. You see the tags that they're optimized for. Care package for her is one of the market gaps that we like seen. It wasn't as strong as some of the other ones, but we do see that it's in here with that keyword score of 180. But it can just be really, really helpful for guiding the aesthetic of any products that you do bring to the platform. We see basically all this data, all these listings we see here, we're going to get the same kind of data. And all of these, they have a nice amount of monthly search volume for being as new as they are. And these just prove the fact that new listings on Etsy can make lots of sales really, really quickly if the listings are really aesthetic and optimized to align with underserved purchasing intents and or target customers on Etsy. Back over here on Etsy's search page to go the next step when you are analyzing these like best-selling listings. Keep in mind also we're seeing listing age even on Etsy search page. So we see that this top ranking ad is only has a listing age of 2 months. So that could be helpful too if you want to use listing age to prioritize which listings to analyze. We see a listing age of 3 months here. If you want to click into any of these listings that are showing up, these listings that are ranking really highly, bestseller label or popular now label, and they are ideally in this case we do see newer takes a bit more precedence over really, really like old established listings. Click into those listings and analyzing their customer reviews can really be like your treasure trove of the data that's going to guide the presentation of the listings. You can create, really, really strong products, but if you don't present them well, then you're not going to exceed the existing offers or options on Etsy. So, like in this case, this listing here, we scroll down to reviews. We have a lot of different data we can use. I use AI. I do use ChatGPT Pro, and I'll just paste in a lot of customer reviews. I will ask it to analyze customer reviews for me to pull the greatest pain points, the greatest competitive advantages, the greatest purchasing intents, and then allow that to guide my presentation. So presentation of listings is typically, I sum it up as a listing's cover photo, or some people call it the thumbnail, the beginning of the title that you see here from Etsy search, and then as well as the entry level price point. A few other factors play into it. Listing videos do play when hovered over in search. And then we see, like, of course, the average star rating, the number of reviews, all that is technically part of like the listings presentation and like the search facing perspective. But the main things you can tweak tend to be the cover photo, the beginning of the title, and then the entry level price point. So pulling all of those insights from the reviews, and then you can basically ask ChatGPT to craft the strategy for you to tell you what exact things need to be communicated about your product from search. It can help you to figure out maybe which titles, which keywords to front load your titles with, because those are the ones that communicate the most value to customers. Not for SEO purposes on Etsy, but they communicate the most value. And then also the cover photos, it can even help you to figure out what text overlays to place on your cover photos. So whether that's maybe, of course, fast shipping always matters. So like 2-day shipping would definitely be something worth communicating, whether that's communicating that it's personalized, the other options that you maybe offer, other colors, maybe doing like a little color overlay of like the different color options you offer. All of that can be guided by what your customers tell you. Of course, their pain points as well. Really just, dive into as many reviews as you can and just ask ChatGPT to craft that for you. Do not underestimate the impact of text overlays, and then it will also help you with the aesthetic presentation. Even if you can't photograph the product super aesthetically yourself, there are definitely third-party tools that you can use. I use photoroom.com. It'll allow you to generate artificial backgrounds that look insanely real, so they won't like diminish the perceived value of the product. And you can essentially, yeah, you can even take lots of screenshots of these top competitors. You could feed it into chat GPT, or again, you can use the customer reviews and what they really, really appreciate about the products. And all that can even help you to guide what kinds of backgrounds to generate, or what kinds of products, like how to stage your products if you're doing physical photos. And of course, it'll help you with the text overlays on the cover photo. It'll also help you with the text overlays on any secondary visuals to really, really let your visuals do the talking on Etsy. They're super high visibility, so much more so than like description. So you do want to let your visuals do the talking. You want them to be very, very aesthetic. and you want them to always align with your target customer, to walk them through the purchasing process and allow them to see all their options really, really quickly and how your product caters to their purchasing intent. This listing does a really good job of it. Untie the Bow Gifts, they are really, really just standout shop. We see their second listing image, choose your card. We see 19 different cards that are pictured here, and all of them cater to very specific purchasing intents. We see Get Well Soon is a really, really early one here. Not a surprise there. So just kind of using your top competitors a bit to really guide the presentation of your listings, but really, really using their customer review insights to allow you to craft that standout presentation strategy. Now, I know I've mentioned a lot of different things in this video. I will say that my team and I, we handle all these things for our clients. I know that it can be a lot, all the different analyses, the research, diving deep into your competitive landscape, the different keyword market gaps. We handle all of that for you, even like the SWOT test to figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. We will do all that for you to position your shop as competitively as possible within Etsy's landscape. And we always operate with the greatest ROI in mind. So whatever we do, we are always operating to kind of expedite your return on investment and make sure you are actually going to make your money back and just so much more than that. And ideally, whatever your vision is, we're going to help you reach that. So if that's maybe transforming your life with Etsy and leaving behind like your 9 to 5, or just if you have an established business and you really, really want to just scale it so that you can just build it to something that's going to touch as many lives as possible, we can help you out with that as well. So definitely feel free to get in contact. All the contact links are down below. OptiShopSolutions.com / whether you want to call it hashtag or # contact. You can go to that website. Again, it's linked down below. You can fill it out a bit with your information and we will get in touch with you. I'm happy to hop on a call and craft a custom roadmap for your business. So all the information is down below. Again, just let me know. Portfolio, case studies, and testimonials are all linked down below as well for you to review as you see fit. We handle everything, including the actual implementation of all the strategies too. So the visuals, SEO, price points, every strategy that has to do with scaling the shop, we are happy to handle it for you. Etsy Ads Management too, and we'll facilitate whatever you want as well to just further grow your business and really, again, just to align it with your actual vision for your business. So all in all, thank you so, so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, to hit that like button, and leave a comment down below. Let me know if you like this kind of content. Let me know any future videos you want to see. And don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified of future videos as well. And I will see you in